What's up, YouTube? It is your boy Killer Cam. Be killing it. Welcome back to the Killer Squad. So we got Loki, the deleted scene. So I guess Thor was supposed to be in this. Let's go ahead. So Thor is supposed to become a frog in Loki. Let's go ahead and get right into the video.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name is Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, undeniably, Season 1, Episode 5 of Loki was a ton of fun and one of everybody's favorite from Marvel Studios on Disney Plus so far. So many nods, references, and Easter eggs. It's the kind of thing us YouTubers dream of, and the kind of MCU fan service for fans that have been yearning for this kind of episode since the wake of No Mephisto. And it's kept social media alight the entire week since it aired, everybody finding new Easter eggs every day. Well, we had one of the writers on the show weigh in and describe a now deleted scene that they ended up shooting but not including in the show that would have taken Throg to a new level. Yes, CGI interaction with Tom Hiddleston. It was in the show. Unfortunately, they didn't use it, but we have the details here for you. We're going to break it down in full, this now deleted Throg scene. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button, we're giving away a PlayStation 5 now at 900,000 subscribers, as well as Disney Plus subscriptions every week while the shows are live. And we're still giving away until next week with the Easter egg video that comes out for the finale, this Avengers 118 CGC Signature Series, graded in a 9.4, signed by none other than Tom Hiddleston Loki and Elizabeth Olsen Scarlet Witch, who happen to be featured side by side on the cover. If you want to be entered to win for any of the future giveaways, all you have to do, hit the subscribe button to be a subscriber, then leave a comment down below. If you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. So again, this is coming officially from Eric Martin, one of the writers on the show. Of course, Michael Waldron was the head writer on the Loki series, someone who used to write for Rick and Morty as well. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But it is not uncommon for series like this to hire different co-writers and or directors for every episode. Now, coming via his Twitter, this is what he said about a Throg scene they actually shot for episode 1 that wasn't included. Quote, "Comic fans will notice the Frog of Thunder in that jar. We actually shot a scene for the Time Theater in episode 1 of Loki getting pummeled by Frog Thor, but had to cut it to keep things moving. It's too bad because Tom was funny as hell. Hashtag Midnight Theater." He then goes on to say in a reply to this tweet, hashtag Alligator Loki is one of the very first elements of the show. It was actually in Michael Waldron's pitch, and somehow they let us make him a part of this crazy episode. Hashtag Midnight Theater. Now, in a separate tweet that I struggled to find after the fact and didn't screenshot at the time, I actually saw it written somewhere officially that Chris Hemsworth did the voice for Throg, and I wonder if he did it for that scene as well. Of course, that scene's still existing somewhere. We'll probably never get to see it, but the Time Theater they're referring to is when Loki's taken into the real of his past life and gets to see all of his transgressions, those most important moments. Throg beating him up would have been one of them. That would have been hilarious to see, but it seems as though they just kept that to moments that the fans are familiar with in the MCU. Even though it's been referenced before, we didn't get to see it on screen, and it makes sense for the pace of the show and the tone that they didn't get that weird right off the bat. It really would have sort of subtracted from that moment and kept our attention. We would be talking about that instead of all the subtleties of what's going on with the TVA, and you can tell this show has just sort of progressively ramped, where the idea of a variant was pretty crazy at the beginning of the series. By the end, it's like not a shocker at all that there's an alligator. It almost reminded me of that line from Natasha Romanoff in Avengers Endgame where she tells Ant-Man, "I get emails from a raccoon. Nothing is weird." I think they did it perfectly, keeping those kind of Easter eggs out of earlier parts of the series. But as I made mention of in one of my earlier videos this week, and feels like the perfect time to bring this theory back up as it refers to variants, I don't think we're going to see Throg or any of these other crazier variants as we get into the finale, but I think the reveal of a duplicate Tom Hiddleston Loki, the one that was Vote Loki for President, when Tom Hiddleston runs into a mirror of himself, that was the most important variant reveal for me for a couple of reasons. I mentioned for the MCU, it allows characters like Adrian Toomes Vulture that we saw in the Morbius trailer to exist over in the Venom Morbius verse and in the MCU, looking exactly the same, both as versions of himself with slight differences. We see two Tom Hiddleston Lokis that are now variants but also duplicates. This opens the door to a lot of things, but most specifically the finale. In case that big bad is not Kang and another version of Loki, as many people have speculated again, the series is named Loki, it's not named Kang, and we've seen those scenes from one of the initial trailers where he's standing up in a throne room. If it happens to be Loki at the end and another Tom Hiddleston variant, that won't be the first time the fanbase has seen a duplicate Loki. That's why it was so important to introduce that variant last episode, so it's not weird by the time they get there, and that ties back into the pacing of not having a Throg moment in the very first episode. It's all about the writing, the nuance, and the subtlety, and that's the maturity of the MCU that you want. You don't want them to Sony it and throw all of their Easter eggs out in the very first episode. Well, speaking of the Morbius trailer, throwing all the Easter eggs out in the very first trailer, you want them to keep some sense of wonderment as we journey into mystery. Man, I need to be cut off. Not making any more comments like that in this video, I can promise. But we all know that Marvel Studios has found a time and a place to bring back Easter eggs like this in the future, and if this is eventually headed to a Secret Wars, a battle world where the multiverse is fractured and has to come together to beat God King Doom, much in the way we saw a final battle in Avengers Endgame feature characters like Howard the Duck that were only in post-credit scenes, quick moments, much in the way they brought back the exact same doubles in places where they could find them from the Asgardian army or from the Kamar-Taj. If they were there as a double then, they brought them back for Avengers Endgame. They find ways to bring these characters back. So now that Throg has CGI done, and he's in the MCU, I think there's at least a chance if we ever make it to Secret Wars or there is some big crossover, then you can see a character like this come back, and hopefully they will. I mean, it's amazing, and this is kind of the reason that I don't want them so hard and fast killing off characters. I understand that Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios wanted to bring the Infinity Saga to a close. They had an opportunity to do so, and so they did wrap it up with a bow, but I want to keep as many characters and as many variants, as many iterations in the MCU as possible, so that next big crossover that comes, you can bring them all back. That's where characters like Winter Soldier, who we may not see for a while, all of them, hope they stay in the MCU and for a while, so we can have that huge fun crossover when we get to Secret Wars. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below. Would you have wanted to see Throg beating up Loki? I mean, I know of course you would have. Do you think that would have been too jarring, though, if they had put that in the very first episode? Are you enjoying the pace of the show? And as always, you guys have been leaving some banger theories in the comments. I've enjoyed interacting with you guys. You got theories for the finale? I'm all ears. Drop them in the comments, and quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go.
We're still stop the video right there. Hope you enjoyed my reaction, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, Killer Squad.